looks like we get a move again this year. Not far away, just different house. But don't worry, I've got a plan for when it's time to move. The Sunday before we move, I'm going to go into the toddler classroom and I'm going to recruit some of those toddlers to help us move. What, you don't think that's a good idea? You're saying those kids can hardly pick up toys, let alone furniture? Yeah, you're right. Maybe I'll go to my gym and get some of the big, strong people there, or go to church and identify the biggest people there. Maybe I'll just go looking for really big, strong people and say, hey, can you want to come help me? Because when it comes to moving furniture, I want the biggest, strongest people I can get. Which is kind of opposite of how we often live our lives. Paul's talking to the church in Galatia, and he says in chapter 4, verse 9, but now that you know God, or rather are known by God, how is it you are turning back to those weak and miserable forces? Weak and miserable forces. See, what's happening is the people have accepted Jesus, but now to live their lives, they're not leaning on Jesus and God's principles. They're going back and looking at the weak and miserable principles of their culture. In our case, it would be, okay, we have Jesus Christ, we have God's principles, but man, I found some really good self-help books. And there's a really good fad going on. And man, these crystals are great, and I got this music, and I got this Eastern meditation, and we do all these things instead of saying, no. God has principles, and God has faith, and God has grace, and we should lean into that, to living God's principles, the ones that are big and strong enough for God to use to change us and transform us into the person He wants us to be. You don't want to recruit movers out of a toddler classroom, and you don't want to get spiritual self-help from a book by a spiritual weakling. Lean into God. That's today's Jumpstart.